So welcome everyone. I'm Chris McDonald and we're going to be talking about virtual results and bibs. For those of you that have been on our Timer Tip Tuesdays, a lot of this is going to be review. For those of you that haven't and want to join, we do a Timer Tip Tuesday every Tuesday, I believe, at noon Eastern, and we just go through little tidbits to help you on your way with event setup. So we have a lot of stuff to cover in a very short amount of time. So we're going to go straight into virtual results. And I kind of just wanted to break this down as to how to do it successfully. We review on our end at RunSignup, we review a lot of your setups. And it's something I think the way we review is a great way for you guys to actually do set things up. And so there's kind of three main portions here. One is the virtual results starts with the virtual race setup. And you now have access to go in and change all of the enhanced virtual results settings. So if you're set up as a timer, if you're a race director, you have all access. So, and we're gonna go through each one of these individually, but you're gonna make sure your event type is set to virtual race challenge. That might seem normal. You're gonna make sure your race start and stop dates are set correctly. Your race distances are set correctly. So those, in terms of your event setup, are some of the main things to focus on. Super simple. We can burn through those slides in no time. I'm sure you've seen those either during setup or maintenance of your event. So the second big point is to ensure bib assignments are set. So one of my main suggestion to nearly everyone is set up automatic bib assignments. And it's a set it and forget it kind of thing. Especially if you're going to be using digital bibs and not printing and shipping bibs. And if you are going to manually assign bibs, I would strongly advise you at some point or another to close registration. Most of you are not interested in closing registration, and I totally understand why. So with that being said, in my opinion, automatic bib assignment is the way to go. We're gonna create some digital bibs, and I'll show you some cool examples. And then we're going to go in and configure virtual results, both with and without RaceJoy. And then we're going to go into virtual challenge. And if we have time, we'll get into notifications. But after virtual challenges, I'm going to actually jump in. I have some tabs at the top here that we're just going to jump into other events. One of the events, I actually met the race director after our virtual summer symposium, and started helping her with her event, and saw that she's going to be an example on digital bibs. She's done an amazing job with that. So I try to point this resource out every single time that I do a talk about digital bibs or any sort of virtual race possible. And that is, there are tons of resources on RunSignup. There is this link right here, which will take you to an event. And all it is links to webinars, recorded webinars, how-to guides, support documents, examples, things like that. And some of our account management team has done an absolutely phenomenal job on creating that event to show you what is possible. So do take a moment if you've not ever, and you can quite literally, I think if you just search for the event called Going Virtual, you'll get there. So going in, we're just going to start straight into some of those event setup, and that is your event types, start and end dates. Again, these are super simple. You've probably already set these up correctly, but you're going to go into Race Wizard, and then in step one, you're going to go make sure your type is virtual race challenge. And that is obvious, like everyone gets that part. The second part is where people get a little bit confused, because if you've been using RunSignup for the past 5 or 6 years, you've set your type to whatever, run, walk, cycling event, what have you. And you've put a start time. You put your start time is this Saturday at 8 a.m. So even this event, this sample event, has 8:55 a.m., which is when the event was supposed to start. It went virtual, and so they set it to 8:55 a.m. They didn't actually change this to 12 a.m., which is fine. But their end time is what they put in, and this is actually very important if you're going to be using RaceJoy. So this information right here on step 1 of the wizard is what RaceJoy pulls from. So if you're going to be using RaceJoy for either a course or a run anywhere option, especially if you're going to have that course open for days or weeks or months, you need to make sure your end time is appropriate, because RaceJoy will not work outside of this window.
Hey, Chris.
Yep.
Just one thing on that I wanted to mention as well. A recent update, like last week, also updated this so that those start and end times get copied to the submission period for virtual events.
So that's
really handy. Yep. It's good to know that if you set that virtual race challenge option, those start and end times actually switch to submission start and end times. So your participants will be able to submit during the period defined right there.
Absolutely. Previous to that, you had to go in and make sure those matched up correctly. And so then step 2 is your race distance, also under your race wizard. Again, just going in and making sure that your distance is correct. So the distance is, for a virtual race or challenge, might not be that big of a deal, but again, if you're using RaceJoy, you will need to make sure this distance is correct, because that, especially for the race anywhere options, that's going to dictate how long it's going to wait to track you. So if we've set it to 26.2 miles and you hit start on race anywhere, RaceJoy is not going to submit your time until you get to that 26.2 mile mark on RaceJoy. And that could be slightly different than your Garmin watch or your Fitbit. So please be mindful of that if you get any questions regarding the distance. So the next thing is Bib Assignments. I was super creative with my images here, so I just have always loved that picture. And I've done Bib Assignment talks over and over and over again. We are going to go over the Bib Assignment, but more than anything, I want to make sure that you guys understand where you can assign bibs. So again, that's under Race Day Tools, Bibs, Assign Bibs and Chips. And then you have a whole lot of different options once you get there. In a normal setting, I would talk about all of these and how awesome they are. But realistically, I'm going to tell you about this one in particular, the Assign Bib Numbers at time of registration. And that Assign Bib Numbers at time of registration is your auto bib assignment tool. Any other of these will not continue assigning bib numbers after you hit submit. So anybody that, if I go and manually assign or assign bib numbers and I hit submit, anybody that registers 10 minutes later will not get a bib number assigned. This is the only option that continues forward. So we're going to auto assign bib numbers at time of registration. So how does that work? It's quite easy. You go in and you have all of your events and you quite literally set your ranges. You can set all of these to 1 and share the bib numbers across other events, and it pools all the bib numbers into one big pool. So if somebody registers for the test 5K first and the relay second, they would get 1 and then 2. They wouldn't get 2 number 1s. You do need to make sure that you share your bibs across all your virtual events. So again, it is super, super simple. I am going to go through the other versions just in case you guys are interested in shutting down registration and importing your bibs. So with this, it's just the old school way of bib assignment, and that is you will end up downloading your participant data. You sort the CSV however you need it. You assign the bib numbers within that CSV, and then you upload it back in with the CSV and Reg ID into RunSignup. And again, we have a lot of information to cover, which is why I'm going through all this info so quickly. So importing, we've downloaded, we have our Reg ID, we have our bib number. When we upload it back in, we assign those column headers to Reg ID and bib number, and we import import those bib numbers into the system. Again, anyone registering after you import the bib and chip numbers, or bib numbers in this case, anyone registering after you do this will not get a bib number assigned. So please keep that in mind. I come back to the auto assigning at time of registration is the way to go. So another way is manually assigning the bib and chip numbers. Here, you can assign for all races and go one by one and type in bib numbers for folks. You can also go in to the participant information and assign the bib number there. And then you can also assign bib numbers by alpha or a number of different methods. So if you click this assign bib numbers, again, this is not the auto assignment. This is a static assignment. You have a bunch of different ways to assign. You can select what races, what ranges, and then assign bib numbers there. So again, I think I've said it 3 times. This will be the 4th, and that is, I strongly advise for you to use assign bib numbers at time of registration. So now into the digital bibs. This is a very bland one, but we're going to go into how to make a super simple one, and then I'll show you some examples of some very customized ones. So it's again under bibs and customized digital bib. So race day tools, bibs, customized digital bib. It'll bring up this screen. You'll have 2 options here to create your first one. You can either use our template, which there is nothing special about our template, but it has some cool features for you to add in your event logo, put in the participant name, or you can create your design. So the way to think about this is basically a solid color with a solid strip across it. So you can make this, this white on either side. You can make that any color you'd like. And you can make this strip any color you like, and then you can add in a couple of variable fields. With create your design, basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna upload a background, and don't upload a bib number into that. You'll want a space for your bib number, and basically that's it. Otherwise, you can fill it up with whatever you'd like. And so if we create with our template and go in, you'll see you can change the name of the digital bib. You could call this, you know, sample digital bib or whatever you want to. The actual, it might be a little bit confusing because this is the Race Joy Rocks event. And you can see that the logo for the event is Race Joy. But you can see these bounding blocks around this information. You can resize this and change the size of your font. You can resize this as well. It will get a little bit grainy if you make it too large, but these 2 are variable fields. So if I register for the event and I'm bib number 12, then instead of being 123, I would be bib number 12. And instead of it saying participant name, for me, it would say Chris McDonald. The other variable fields that can be added are the full name, bib number, logo. Again, so right now we have the participant's name, we have the bib number, we have the race logo. You can also put in there the race name. So for this event, it would be Race Joy Rocks. Most people don't want to use the race name. However, the event name might be something you want to add. The event name would be like if you had a 5K, marathon, a half marathon, you could add that in and make it really small underneath the participant name. You can also put in the group team name. There's other text as well in there. So again, a lot of customizable fields for just a very, very simple digital bib. So it's a very, very similar thing for creating your own or using your own design. And so, this is what it looks like. So both of these bibs for the Justin Pepper 5K and virtual 5K, there's 2 different bib designs that they uploaded. One is for the real event, and one is for the virtual event. I'm not sure if you can read that that bottom one says virtual. But when we go into the virtual one, when we hit customize, we can see that it says participant name right here. 123, that's the bib number. And if we double click on either one of these, it actually brings up a editable field. We can change the font type. We can change the font color. We can actually match the font to other things. And so again, as people register, they're going to get their bib number and their name in this font, in this color, inside that box. And what's cool about that, a lot of people have asked, you know, like, how can I go and check what it looks like for a participant? So if you go in and you go to find your participant and you search for the person in that event, they have to have a bib number assigned to them. So I'm registered with bib number 99. And so when I bring it up, when I click on this, it brings up my name, Chris McDonald, in that box with bib number 99. And I think Brian Jenkins, if you guys were on the very first talk today, he alluded to a number of people are actually printing these and wearing them. And so for those of you that are doing fulfillment for events, by using digital bibs, it's one less variable thing that you have to put into shipping. So obviously a bib doesn't weigh very much, but making sure that, you know, John Smith gets bib number 25 is a whole nother process as compared to, you know, automating it and having digital bibs go out to all the athletes. So that's what the digital bibs look like. I thought they did a phenomenal job of laying this out, and so I wanted to share that. So configuration of virtual results. There are several different ways of doing this for virtual results and a ton of different ways of doing it for challenges. So we're going to go through some super basic settings. So number one is virtual challenge results. It's under Race Day Tools and configure virtual results. And you have a number of different options underneath this. And so what you're going to end up clicking is virtual result setting. And so for the most basic way of setting up virtual results, we go in, and this might be a little bit hard to see. Hopefully you guys can read this, but it reminds you that no bibs, no results, and bibs before messages. So again, we talked about bibs first because they're so important. So we want to make sure that our result sets are accepting the whole time while the entire time period that we want to receive virtual results. We set up a virtual result set here, and we select that we want times to be what they're uploading. And then we want it to sort by the lowest time. And again, this is a virtual marathon. So the minimum time is 2 hours and 5 minutes and 45 seconds. We're not expecting to break any world records. And the maximum time allowed is 50 hours. So this isn't a challenge. This is a one-time thing that people go out and run. If it takes someone over 2 days to run a marathon, congrats to them for sticking with it. I'm fairly impressed. So that's all there is to it for a very simple result setup. This is the only result in this setting. And so the only other thing to do if you're setting up RaceJoy is to go in, you know, enable RaceJoy, purchase the buyout, and then course setup. And here you have two options, Race Anywhere or your course. If you pick Race Anywhere, there are a handful of other settings within. I think James and Shelley are doing some talks on RaceJoy, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. But if you're using Race Anywhere, that's the extent of the virtual results setup that you need to do. You make sure that your virtual result settings are there and that you have a result set. And then once you get in, you can set up RaceJoy, you purchase the buyout, and set the Race Anywhere, which is one of the more popular options right now. So that's a very basic setup. I do want to go through some more complicated setups, and that's using alternative events. So alternative events are, there's basically flexible virtual result categories. And you have, in one scenario, you have multiple registration options with one or more result sets. And then the second is one registration option with multiple result sets. So obviously you could have a combination. So think of the first one as you have two different price points and you need to delineate that, or two different age brackets that you need to delineate during registration. Whether it be a no medal, no shirt option that's, $20 cheaper, or you have different price points for different age groups. Maybe anyone 18 and under or 17 and under is $15. Anybody 18 and over is $50. And so you have two different events set up within RunSignup, and you want them all to go into one result set. So you have multiple registration options, and here's a great example: half and medal only versus half, shirt, and medal. So in this example, what you're going to do is you're going to enable virtual results for the event requiring results. So we'll just pick this one. And then we're going to go to the edit virtual results settings. So you click the virtual results settings in this one, just like you would for your other events. So here you would enable your result sets for when you want to receive them. You click the drop down and you create a new result set. And this is a half marathon, so we'll call it half marathon. And then step four is the alternate event is the half with shirt and medal. So please note, when we change this, instead of leaving it as the half and no medal, or half and medal only, I forget what the actual name of this event was, we changed the result set to just half marathon, because we're going to end up dumping both sets of data into this one result set. So we select the alternative event, which is on the same page. I'm just showing the different options. So first we click this, create a result set, then we change the name to half marathon. Then on that same page, we select the alternative event, and then we finish adjusting the settings and click save. So for the alternate event, we're going to go in and do the same thing, except for we're going to select alternate event on this drop down, and we're going to select the event that it points to. So we're going to select this, this half medal only, which shows right here. We enable the virtual result, configure it, and select alternate event submission only, and then select the correct one for it to point towards. So if you have one master registration category, click the wrong button, I apologize. If we have one master result category, again, we need to make sure that we push these results back to the alternate event, and we select that event so that because this will disable the results for that category. So we select alternate event for the alternate event submission only. So some other things to think about in terms of challenges: the way you turn on challenges is you click the blue button under your virtual results setting. Yes, this is a virtual challenge. And for most challenges, you're putting in times and distances. For a lot of people, they're putting 0 as the minimum time. And you can put this as large as you would like for the maximum time. Distance in miles, and the tally field is distance in miles. Again, you have your accepting dates that you can put in there. You don't have to. And so the activity types, if you have multiple activities, like a lot of people are doing, say, this was a duathlon setup where they first rode and then ran. If your activity type is singular, you might not have activity types set up, or you might just have one and their max tally is like 10,000 miles or something like that. So with your activity type here, you set it, in this case, to ride. Time entry is optional for this event. They're putting in their distance in miles, and that's 27 is the maximum tally. And they include a split for this. Again, this is a duathlon challenge. And so they're requiring at least one type of this activity. A number of people are getting creative and saying, hey, we want to do a virtual challenge triathlon where we want them to do it like all in one day, or the bike in one day and the run in one day. Well, what you can do is you can put at least one, and you can have a maximum of one as well. And so that means they can only submit one of this bike activity. So this is your setup for your bike, and this is your setup for your run. Again, for this specific event, they did not, the time entry was optional. So I'm going to skip over notifications. There's a bunch of things you can do with notifications, but it doesn't have as much to do with results. Goals does, and we're going to use, I believe this was the Great Floridian Challenge, or 1000. And for this, they had an overall goal. So this event, they set an overall goal, and at 621 miles, and they added in a map, a GPX file or a KML file map from Map My Run or something similar, and you can upload that file. And so as people run, they will continue on this path. I saw someone ask a question or earlier session about when it was mentioned, hey, we're going to do a run across Europe. And they were like, oh, how are you doing a run across Europe? Well, all you do is get a GPX or KML file that matches the distance that you're planning on having. And then secondarily underneath that, you're now able to add in milestones. And so with the milestones, you have milestone types, and this is distance completed, and this is your checkpoint 1 at 122.5 miles, and they made their own badges to go in here. So it's a really cool way of engaging athletes. And so something to consider, if you don't already have a way of making badges, there are a couple of websites. I think Matt actually did a webinar on badges and might have shared the link for that. I don't have the link offhand for how you make it. So these badges, people do really like. It does engage them and keeps them going. So do consider adding badges if you have a long enough race to have milestones. One other thing to think about, if you're going to set up milestones, a lot of folks will have a milestone, and there are some stock badges that you can put, but one milestone type is the first submission, and that just gets people, oh, Matt, share it with me. It is badgedesign.com. I'll open that up once we start going through some of these examples. And so it is a quick and easy way, but if you have Illustrator or Photoshop, you might be able to get really, really creative. I'll zoom in on some of these so you can see them a little bit better. So with that being said, I don't think we have any other questions right now. So I'm going to jump into some examples. I guess I should have said this from the get-go. I know Lauren mentioned it. If you do have any questions, please let us know. You can type it in the question field. We do have both Lauren and Matt Avery on to help answer those questions. If there are any topics that we should share with the entire group, they'll ping me and I will bring it up. So feel free to ask away, and I will try to answer whatever specific questions you might have. So going into the Bib assignment, we're going to go into this Justin Pepper event. And so again, if we go into Race Day Tools, Bibs, and Customize Digital Bibs, you can see how we have both create a bib and upload a bib. And you'll see again how there are two different bibs that are uploaded. And all that has to happen is you hit the customize button, and everything in here, so not these two bounding blocks, or boxes, but this and this are uploaded in as JPEG or PNG. And so you can add in any additional info that you want. Just keep in mind, if you have huge numbers or your boxes are too big, it will overlap on other things and it'll look a little janky. So please be mindful of that while you're working on it. And so if we go in and you want to see what yours looks like, again, it's very clear. It says for best results, upload a 775 by 600 pixel. So if we go to their website, if you want to see what yours looks like, you can go in to find a participant. And the only people that have bib numbers for this event that are assigned right now are in their virtual event. So if we go into their virtual event, we can see all these people, and we'll just go to me since I added myself in. And so we'll click on Chris McDonald. And again, it's a really good looking bib, and you can share it out, tweet it, print it, whatever you want. Big print button here. Again, a lot of folks are really getting behind this and are enjoying using it. So some other things, let's see. This is another test event that we were using, and I did want to show the team function. So if you go in to, let's see, I think these are down here. If we go in and enable team results, it will actually give us team results. And so it's not to be thought of as a relay necessarily, but what you can do with it is it basically is a summation of that team. So you can limit the number of people on a team, but you do need to create, if you're going to create a team, you need to create a different team type. And basically, like, let's say you have a 10 miler and you want to have a relay that runs 10 miles, then with 4 people each running 2.5 miles, you would create a 10-mile relay registration, and in your race distance, you would only set it to 2.5 miles and set your team to a max of 4 people. And so if we actually go to this test website and results, we can see we have individual results that some of us tested out and put in, whether we tested with RaceJoy or self-submission or what have you, it doesn't matter. But if we go into team results, so we can see that there are team results in here. And so it's a very, very basic way of dealing with team results. So there's only one submission so far, so this is only 30 minutes and 30 seconds, and that's what that team result says total. Again, just keep that in mind. So if we go into the 4-miler anywhere, and I believe we have, I'm trying to think of, actually, we have team results in, one sec. This event. So they've done a really good job with a lot of their images and things like that, their logos. You can see their badges. So if you click on their team results, they have their teams of 2. And this is a live event. And so this is being sorted by the total miles run, because some of these folks, they have a setting set that they don't actually have to enter time if they don't want to. So they have a really cool way of basing this off of number of miles run so far. So again, and it looks like our RunSignup team is leading right now, partly because of some of these guys are monster runners. So good job to the RunSignup team. I didn't even know we were in the lead. So if we click on some of those people, it will bring up. So they've already run past the total distance and they're just going on running. But if you look, these are the badges they set up. And so the team unlocked on 7:10, they hit checkpoint 1. And along the way, so as you're running down the coast of Florida, you can see the badges that they earned. So just a really, really cool way of engaging athletes and you know, making people want to keep running. So let's see. Had one question. Let's see. I will go ahead and bring up. This is your badge generator. If you want to, I'll be honest, I've not used it before, but I have seen images of it and it looks super, super easy. Like click and drag, add text, download it. So it's badge.design. I don't think you have to pay for anything. So it's just something, if you're going to make badges, something to consider. Are there any other questions? I was worried about making it through everything, and so I hurried at the beginning, and now I'm actually ahead of schedule. So I apologize for going so fast, but I did want to make sure that we got through everything. Oh, here's another example of something as a timer that you guys can help with. So this event was Be the She was a women's only duathlon. And so they actually hid the results. And because people could put in that they just completed the event. So it was more of a completion scenario. So we can go in and see the results by clicking edit. But what they did a great job of is instead of doing a time, most of the time people put their finishers, their times and their place and all that. These guys instead quite literally did a certificate of completion. And so they removed all other information. And so the only variable field right now is the name. Everything else is stock image that they imported in. And so they still could put in all this other information, but instead they went with this and saw, a huge response with people, loving the fact that they had a certificate of completion, especially since the same event, they didn't mandate that times were put in. And that removed any blank spaces that they would see. So, and just going back to those teams that we were talking about, it's more on the challenge side. It's less of a relay, more of a team. I think we covered that, but I just wanted to make sure to point that out. So when we look at these, everyone's goal is the same. And so they're just trying to, everyone's trying to run the entirety. And we can go into view progress. And I think they are hanging out down in Key West virtually, of course. So are there any other questions? Some of you might be interested in your RaceJoy setup. So again, if you're doing race joy submission, race anywhere, you quite literally come down here, select race anywhere, select miles or kilometers, whatever unit of measure you're using, and hit save. And then the athletes can utilize the run anywhere, race anywhere function. If you're doing a cycling event, please note that you will want to go in and you can click on the event itself. Ooh. I've had this open for too long, I apologize. And so if you're doing a cycling event, you'll want to remove a lot of these progress alerts just because people are moving so fast. So consider taking out the progress and audio pace, except for every 5 miles. And you'll want to change your pace type to miles per hour rather than minutes per mile. Just some thoughts to not confuse, so like keep people, again, this is for if you're doing a bike event. Okay, so where can we design the certificate of completion? Sure thing. So you can go into, to be honest, I use this menu search all the time. So that way I don't have to have memorized everything. But you can either type in cert right here, or you can go into race day tools, results, and customize finisher certificate right here. So I believe that, yeah, this is my test event. So what we can do is, just like with the bibs, you can upload a 775 by 600 pixel background, or you have all these cool things. So I don't even think I have one set up. So perfect question, Arlen. I will go in and I will pick that template, and you can see it drops in information right on top. So if we don't want specific information, we can just close out. We can do whatever we want. We can move this down. I don't actually think I have a, an event logo in this event. Otherwise, we can drop the event logo in there and we hit save. And so now, I don't know if I have fake results in here or not. We will see. Looks like we do. So we'll go into results, and we just made that. So if we go in and do we have results? Yes, we do. So we'll click on a person. Let's see, they didn't put in any. Oh, my computer, I apologize. My computer's running really slow right now. Let's see, I might have removed all of this information out for testing. But if you click on the person's name, I'll tell you what, we'll go back into this one. And so you can see the results. Since they hid theirs, we'll go to edit so we can see them. And if we just click on first person, it brings up their information where they can log activities, or you can see the certificate. So we click on certificate, it will show that person's information. So, I mean, these things are fantastic for virtual races because people feel so removed from virtual events because they're not physically there. So anything that you can engage with is fantastic, and it's something to save. So if you're doing a challenge, I would strongly advise you to use, instead of working really hard on like a certificate of completion, I would focus efforts on the badges, because that's really what's gonna drive people to keep going on these checkpoints. And you can set them up however frequently. So Deborah's asking, we're having a 90-mile challenge over 45 days. The person will walk or run. To meet the challenge, they'd want to be able to see their daily results. So if we go into, let's see, we'll actually go back to this event. And so this updates, I think it usually takes about 2 or 3 days, or 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 minutes to update once someone submits. But you can see the progress at 100%. So as people complete, there's a max of 27 miles and 9 miles. So if we scroll down, because theoretically people could still be running, and you see some people haven't finished and they're at a lesser percent. So what you could also do, and let's just go in here and we'll just play around with it. I think Angela wanted to check out if they could choose any different type of activity. And the answer is yes, there's custom activities. So if you go into virtual challenge and configure virtual results, oh, Matt's being kind and giving me an example so I don't actually have to do it. Thanks, Matt. So here's a really awesome one that is all about how many hot dogs you can eat. How's that, Angela? It's not horseback riding miles, but you can easily set this to time horseback riding, or number of times, or number of miles, and you can set progress. I would strongly advise you not to challenge Matt to a hot dog eating competition, as he apparently in this fake event has eaten 302 hot dogs. So, and you can see how a challenge was set, or a badge was set up for the 50% mark, and it was unlocked saying halfway there. And during that period of time, they can, I realize this is not results driven, but they can upload photos and to continue to log activities. So in order to find people, you can use the find a participant page, I think was the question. So under participant tracking. And so from here, you can click on the bib number, and each one that has individual bib. So there was a push-up challenge as well in this result set. So if we click on that, we get the bib. And so that's how you can find out what bib number you are, or and if you want to see the results, obviously, you can go into the results. So that's where you find the bibs. I hope, again, like once you upload them, they're here under participant tracking. Are there any other questions? I see some of you guys are starting to get more in tune with asking questions, and Matt is passing them along to us. We still have about 9 more minutes that we can go through whatever else you guys might have questions about. Yes, the recording is going to be, this is recorded and it will be available later. I believe Thursday is the goal. Don't hold me to it, but I think that's the goal, to have everything set up. And that being said, if you have additional questions, or specific questions and you don't feel comfortable asking them out loud, feel free to shoot me an email. My email address is crisp@runsignup.com. And, you know, I can help you with any of these tools, tricks, what have you. If you're doing team setup, some people get a little bit confused with it. So if you're hesitant, just let us know. We'd be glad to help walk you through that process. I was worried about all this information taking 90 minutes, so maybe I just talked really, really fast. Any other questions?
All right.
Guides on how to submit results. Yeah, so one of the cool things, I tell people about this all the time. And so, especially, I don't know how many of you guys were on the Races Are Happening session just before this, but I mentioned it when all three of the people said that the amount of time that they spend doing support has gone up. And so, number one, I just wanted to show you under learning, there's support blog webinars under here. Matt's making it easy for me. He's actually copying the help topics. And so anything on here that you want to find, I tell people by setting this up, so virtual results, virtual challenge results setup, like this is phenomenal. And not only that, there's a video how to, but also in that same vein, submit and manage virtual results is right here. It's on the same help thread. So you just need to type in manage virtual results or virtual results. And what I do, if ever I'm talking with an athlete, a lot of times you can quite literally copy and paste what is in here, and it shows them how to do it. It walks them through the process of, you know, going to the results page and hitting submit results, or searching participant tracking and looking themselves up and hitting the submit virtual results button. What it actually looks like once they get to that point, where they can find it in their profile and submit virtual results for this specific race in their profile and what it looks like. So again, like all of this, load from activity file, all of it is updated and is super, super helpful. And it means that you don't have to keep typing out the same language over and over and over again. And you don't have to go get screenshots. So the other one about submitting photos is the how-to on uploading photos. So your activity's been saved, you can submit photos. And so once they're uploaded, you can see the photos right here. Start uploading. You can upload from the results page. So once you get into the person's information, you can click photos and see all of them. So on this one page, we see photos, the certificate, they can log activities and set notifications. And log activities is also right here. So again, both of those help documents are underneath the learning and support. And this is updated multiple times a day, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? I'm not seeing Matt sending me anything, so. Yeah, well, oh, maybe so, maybe not, nope. All right, well that, I think we covered just about everything on the virtual bibs and the virtual result submission. So yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out, Crisp at RunSignup. I'd be more than happy to help you with whatever events you guys have going on.
Thanks so much, Chris. That was awesome. I'd like to remind everyone about the next session at 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time is Race Day Scoring Refresher with Matt Avery. And the link you should receive in your inbox this morning, but if not, it is on the registration page for the cram session. Have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.